I liked your action here, Shannon, which is use your teeth to cut the thread.
Yes, same.
Did I do that?
You did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That adds up.
There's so much survivalist intimacy in this game.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Why didn't you tell him?
There's so much you could read out of those faces.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There you go.
What about this? Anything worthwhile?
And there's that fucking map
Yeah, this
again.
is this is where the conflict starts to bubble back up between these two.
It makes it so much more sad because it's like, just stick with Dina. Look how you have love and care.
It's so interesting because it's what The Last of Us is about. It's like
Yeah.
within this room right now, you have like two kinds of love. There's this very positive one with Dina, and this kind of negative one of like, I gotta get the people that hurt the person I love, Joel.
Wait, you're gonna go now?
Yeah.
And where now the negative one is trumping the positive
At least
one.
just wait for Jesse to rest up.
She could be gone by then.
She's got to make the lamb stop screaming, you know?
We know her location.
And she's using Tommy as an excuse in a very minor way now, in a much more significant way later. And it's funny. It's like all these people, like Maria, Tommy, and now Dina realize I can't convince her otherwise. She's just gonna go do it. So all I could do is support her.
Well, it's addiction narrative,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Can you come help me
you
with the
you
door, please?
you have to wait until
And
they
it's-
bottom out.
And it's the foreshadowing that eventually Dina says, I can't do it anymore. Oh, Hotline Miami. Or as this lady is so famously known as Vita Girl.
Oh, yeah, 'cause she's got a PS Vita.
Name Nora.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, this scene was already kind of like laying out hints that
We're in the hospital.
even if Ellie's trying to avoid violence, it's going to find her. Right? So she doesn't mean to kill this person.
You gotta respect her efficiency, though.
I mean,
One shot.
one shot wonder.
Mm-hmm. No looking back either. Straight to gameplay.
Oh yeah, this.
Don't scream.
I mean, Nora's
Put that shit down.
pretty smart in this scene.
Yeah.
Is that she knows she needs to get under Ellie's skin to just rattle her so she could get away.
You remember me?
But she still doesn't know who Ellie is until the next scene.
You remember me.
What do you want?
Abby was here earlier. Where'd she go?
I love all these scenes where like Ellie's trying to be like Joel. She's trying to interrogate
Yeah.
people the way Joel would, and there's always something a little off about it.
Still be dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Tell
and
me
it's
where she went,
also
I'll think about letting you go.
sometimes I feel like
Could have killed
we can forget that she's only 19.
Right.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to hurt anybody unnecessary.
Fuck out of
Yeah.
Jackson.
But just going on this
Where's
journey
Abby?
is like you're not going to be able to help it.
Yeah, I feel like each time
You still hear his scream?
she kills somebody, it's not as easy as it was kind of for Joel. Because each death feels like it's leaves something with her.
Yeah. Yeah, that little bitch got what he deserved.
These little opportunities where we wanted Ellie to use her superpower, which is her immunity, to get out of these like precarious situations. I remember that establishing the geography was tricky here, and like how do we separate these two characters?
Yeah. How do you spot the goal?
Right. And there's this progression that with each one of these like revenge kills, we wanted Ellie to lose more and more of her humanity in a way that she doesn't even understand what is happening to her. So you could see a lot of this, and again, I love how you play this, which is you're amping yourself up. You kind of know what you're going to have to do here. And having the willpower, again, to hurt someone to such a degree.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trying to stall a little bit. Like maybe there's some other way out of this.
There are no fireflies anymore.
Where's Abby?
Yeah, now we're at a point where she thinks all she needs is Abby to feel better about the whole thing.
And that's where it feels like you can feel that she's still a kid because she's looking for this thing to try to fix it, and that's not it.
It's interesting to think about the scene from Nora's perspective, which is like how much she's willing to sacrifice to try to help her friend.
Mm.
She's bracing herself because she knows what's
She
coming.
knows.
Like, Nora's a pretty commendable character
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
other side.
And it was important to just to add this little bit of interactivity to make the player complicit in this. There's a parallel of an image there when Ellie goes to enter Joel's house, her hand shakes, and then she grabs the handle, and now her hand is shaking from the violence she's committed against Nora. And it just shows that as much as she wants to be like Joel, she's not Joel. I think Joel could disassociate more, just remove himself from the impact that his violence has in a way that Ellie cannot.
Ellie doesn't have as much practice with it.
She also has, I think, more empathy.
I think so.
I also think
Yeah.
she needs it more than he did. I think for Joel, killing is practical, and
Yeah.
for Ellie, it's emotional.
Right. We see Joel in the first game tortures a couple of guys, and he just moves on. And then Ellie just did it, and it will forever change her.
Yeah, that's not something you can take back.
The torturing we've seen of Joel's has always been toward a productive purpose, right? It's to help or to save or to learn in a way to be a protector. And Ellie is just a destroyer.
Love this performance. This is a very expensive part of the game, by the way. One of the things that in live action is you get for free is putting a shirt on or taking it off. In a CG world or in video games, it's extremely expensive and hard.
Wow.
And we had to run this whole physics simulation on this shot, this right here. This is so tricky to pull off. We're seeing it at the same time that Dina is seeing it. Like, look how beat up she is. Look how much she's already gone through.
Often when you play video games, your character or any of the characters in the game are impervious, right? They live or they die. It's pretty binary. And this allowing us to show the wear and tear on her body and allowing the violence to have an impact, not just emotionally, but also visibly, again, humanizes all of the characters in this game.
There's so much happening there with almost no dialogue.
That scene is tough. Like, taking her shirt off and exposing her and her grief there, because it's not just about what she did, you know? Like, there's so much grief, and she hasn't expressed anything yet, right? Like, it's the first time you really see it, and so there's this urge to, like, care for that, but then also that anxiety of, like, I'm losing this person.
Right.
It's really painful to even watch and, like, talk about. Like, it's really heavy. It's just such a universal theme there.
Right.
Oof, yeah.
And the girl.
And we talked a lot about how could Ellie draw the truth out of him. And even when confronted with facts, he might not say the truth. It's what makes him ultimately do it is the threat of, like, I will disappear and you'll never know my fate. And that's the worst
That's the
thing she could
worst
threaten
thing.
him with. A lot of iteration on this horse animation right here. Trying to make it as believable as possible.
This hug. Just the unrequited hug.
I've definitely had those moments with my kids where it's like they're mad at me over something.
You talk to me.
I feel like it's such I mean, as thinking of like when I was a kid, it's so hard to reciprocate a physical hug like that when you're so angry.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you can't touch me right now because I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Tell me.
It's like I don't even know if Ellie knows what she's expecting here. She just wants a more. I think she just wants a more plausible story, but there's a part of her that maybe is still in denial of what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
I also remember you being so patient, Neil, with this. It was
You will never see me again.
it was so important to just let each line land where it needed to land and the response to come when it had to come.
I'll go back to Jackson.
Because we did this a lot of times. We all were very patient with this one.
I love watching your performance right here, Troy, of like Joel doing the math of like, do I say it? Do I not say it? And then right here, he's resigned. He's going to say it. And she just needs to push him over the edge. But look at him. He's so torn. It's so great.
The first word is the hardest.
And he does need to spell the whole thing out for her because she knows.
Yeah.
She knows what this meant.
Would have killed you. Ashley, there's something that you did that is just so powerful. It's that, without even saying it, just the clutching, like I can't breathe. Like it's literally taking the air out of me, and
It's so much information to find out,
Yeah.
but something that she's always known, but to actually hear it. And also knowing that, oh, wow, you have been lying to my face every time that I've asked you about this. And also the purpose that she had is kind of now gone.
Yeah.
Well, the sacrifices that all the other people made, right? Which is like Riley and Tess
Oh,
and
yeah.
Henry and Sam and everybody along that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Going that whole journey in it.
What was it? It can't be for nothing. It can't be for nothing.
Yeah, I feel like the killing of Nora was a really big turning point. I feel like emotionally for Ellie. Because, oh man, I love that part. Just to see how much she's been through physically.
Yeah, for me, that was one of my favorite sort of moments. Is so much in video games the characters feel infallible, or even if they take hits, they're still great, And to show that this isn't just an external cost. She's destroying herself. Oh.
The Ellie and Jesse relationship is really kind of fascinating, of the respect these characters have for one another and the shared love they have for Dina. And this was a cool shot of just showing what's at stake. We just keep pursuing this thing endlessly.
I aspire to be Jesse when I grow up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Such a good dude.
She had a rough
Yeah,
night.
also the idea of secrets, right? Characters holding on to these secrets, right? The idea that she's pregnant is a secret that Jesse figures out.
Is she pregnant?
And then, right, it's again knowing how much Ellie wrestles with characters not telling her the truth.
Yeah. And I think so much of the wrestling with that was like, I shouldn't be the one to tell this information. It's not my place to, but yeah, I don't want to
Don't want to
I
lie.
don't want to lie.
She needs real care, and she's not gonna get that.
Yeah, I know.
This is starting to lay track of the choice that's coming later of
I
I can't just leave Tommy as rationalization. Now that she's like, she had some time away from the torture, the obsession, the call of the hunt is coming back up.
Maybe you could take
The
her.
justification, which, again, has learned from Joel.
Yeah, whittling these scenes down to just the bare essentials, just to make them as tight as possible, to get back to gameplay. That was quite a bit of iteration.
Which I feel like speaks so much to what you all do at Naughty Dog. Is like the scenes don't have a ton of dialogue, and so much of it is just through looks or movements.
Yeah, well, we're in a privileged position in that we have the budget and the animators and like the talent that could like translate what you're doing on stage pretty much one-to-one to what comes out on screen. But it does take a lot of effort.
Let's go tell her we're leaving then.
I'll just meet you.
No.
Like, yeah, he's got a lot to process, right? It's just,
Yeah, he just found out he's a dad.
he just found out he's a dad. And this is like this goodbye because any one of these excursions, you might not come back. And Ellie's surrounded by all these people that want to support her, and they don't quite understand the darkness of the obsession.
I need you to lock the door for us.
How do you leave that little punum behind?
I know.
Look at her.
It took forever to build this, what we call the wide, which is like the deep background, where you could see the Ferris wheel, you could see just all these obstacles in front of them.
Why the hell are we crossing this?
We could use that road.
You could see WLF vehicles on that highway. And again, when you're acting in this, you don't see anything. So then you're just kind of doing gestures, and then based on
Pointing around.
what your head is looking at, we build the environment around that.
Come on. This way.
And this is where the obsession completely takes over, where it's like we can go for Tommy or we can go for Abby, but we can't do both. And Ellie rationalizes that going after Abby would be the better choice.
The marina through here.
We're taking a boat.
You heard them, right? They're talking about Tommy.
We don't know that.
Who else is it gonna be?
If it is him, he'll be gone by the time
And
we
it's,
get
it's so fascinating to think about someone that just has put so much weight of like people being honest to each other. And here she's lying to Jesse and lying to herself.
Yeah, I
you know?
think so much of it is her own avoidance.
You do this, I'm not saying.
And now
you're
Jesse
innocent.
just sees how dangerous she's become in this obsession, and she's losing even him. And it's so hard to lose Jesse. Yeah, and a lot of the construction of this game was these long stretches where Ellie would just be by herself. So to put these scenarios where we separate her from the people that love her, and wanting the player to feel as alone as she does.
People don't come back from that island.
The roughest scene in the game? Ugh.
And one of them,
I'm not fucking going there.
Then don't.
Ashley Birch, Patrick Fugit.
seeing these glimpses of this other crew and not quite understanding what this fight is about or what the conflict is.
Hands up.
Only later just getting the rest of the context. And this is Ellie trying to be Joel. Ellie trying to do the Joel technique of... And this is another one of the situations where Ellie doesn't want to kill them. She just wants Abby. But the situation gets away from her. I love that she's just on razor's edge of just her emotions completely taken over.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't quite, because she's inexperienced in this type of behavior, she doesn't quite have the calm, cool, and collected way of doing it like Joel did.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and we wanted in this exploration of the pursuit of justice at any cost, that to show that there's always a cost, and in the cycle of violence, there's often unintended consequences, and the idea that Ellie inadvertently kills a pregnant woman just felt like a great metaphor for that. But it definitely horrified some of the people at the studio that heard this pitch.
Yeah. It's an interesting question of, at this point in Ellie's obsession, what could she see that would make her pause, that would make her seriously question after torturing Nora, after leaving Dina behind?
Well,
You need something big
Yeah.
to wake her up.
And I love how you play this panic attack right here. And just the audio design for it as well. And we do this trick when Tommy comes in. We actually recorded a line with Troy, so she hears Joel for like a split second. So you show like all these things are just interconnected in her mind now, all these like traumatic events.
Yeah, she's not built for this.
And just show what a good guy Jesse is. It's like he went and got Tommy and said, "We gotta hurry and get to Ellie at the aquarium."
Mm-hmm.
This was another like clue chain thing we needed to do to set up for later with Abby, is the idea that Ellie has this map, and in the chaos of this whole moment, she dropped it and didn't even realize it.
Completely covered in snow.
Nah, by the time we get there, this whole area will be thawed.
Yeah, this is a bunch of obsessed characters, except for Jesse. Jesse is the most moral character in the story.
What are you guys doing?
That all have to accept
Couldn't sleep.
that it's time to go home.
Come take a look
That
at
it has to be okay if
God is to head home via Ellen.
some of them get away with it.
We're in Fall City by tomorrow. We're doing good.
It's like these two, they have to convince each other.
Hey. They got what they deserved.
Yeah,
But she gets to live.
so much, so much pent up energy under that line.
He's still not on board. He's like, well,
There is something interesting about how, like, Ellie doesn't see
Okay.
living as the punishment it is. Like, living with loss is the punishment it is, even though it's destroying her. In a weird way, for Ellie, like, it would almost be... She's suffering so much, and there's no peace, but she doesn't see that enough to say, I'm okay with Abby living with that level of suffering.
oh, yeah.
And losing
Oh, yeah.
everyone she loves. Like, I've made her life miserable. And that would be the triumph.
Yeah, in her mind, it's like she doesn't know what life she's living. She doesn't know what burden she's carrying. She's like, any kind of life, she hasn't paid the price for what she did.
It's funny, and yet Ellie is incapable of living herself, right? She's incapable of...
I know what gold
It's interesting.
And this is Tommy just trying to make light of the whole thing.
Can we say it's from all of us?
Ha! You find your own damn bribes.
I really like this, the relationship between Ellie and Jesse, and just how much respect they have for each other. I really like this moment right here.
How you doing?
Jesse's just kind of the best. He's the most mature, level, reasonable guy.
And Steven is such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Such a cool
He's
dude.
just
He's
super
like
chill and like, he's kind of like a cowboy.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's
got
like so
a-
positive too. He's
Yeah.
even when he'd be like, I'm real tired, real tired.
Because over the course of the game, he went from, like, newly married to having
Several children.
triplets?
Yeah, I think like several children.
My friends can't get out of their own damn way.
It's like my friend's problems are my problems. Again, he puts everybody else over him.
He would have been a great baby daddy.
And no good deed goes unpunished.
Ugh,
Hands in the air, I shoot this
I
one
love how
time.
abrupt it is.
me too.
Get out of here!
Stand up, now!
Don't you fucking dare!
Shut the fuck up!
This is one of the few scenes that Ellie and Abby are together.
Stop!
And when we're making the game, it felt like we were making two very separate games
Yeah.
with two different casts of characters. And then when they combine, it was such a strange feeling.
Toss your weapon! I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want.
And she doesn't get it.
Just let him go.
She doesn't know what this is about.
You killed my friends. We let you both live.
And you wasted it.
Cut to black.
Dad?
Baby Abby.
You can tell because her braid is so much shorter.
It's interesting in hindsight now watching how when players do this, they think, oh, I'm just going to get a little bit of a glimpse into who she is. They don't know yet. You're only at the halfway point.
Abs?
And we're about to introduce Jerry the surgeon, played by Derek Phillips, who voiced the surgeon in the first game.
Right there.
Another fun fact is we originally cast him as Henry before we decided to drastically change those characters, and then gave him the role of the surgeon.
Believe it or not, they actually care about your safety.
These woods are
But that's before you knew that the second game was happening at all.
Yeah.
right on the other side of those trees.
And?
She's due any day now. We'll just check on her and then we'll head back. I promise.
Like this role reversal where she's more the adult in this relationship.
See?
You're probably thinking about this surgeon that doesn't have much to do until Ellie shows up. Of course, the zebra comes because, again, this is part of the Salt Lake City Zoo where the giraffes escaped that we saw in the first game. Zebra, played by the wonderful Chris Robbins, who doubled for a lot of stunt work as well for many characters on this game and the first game.
I bet nobody ever asked him to be a zebra before.
No, but man, he did a good
nailed it.
job of being a zebra tied up in barbed wire. And he's like this big former football player, and he's just knocking everybody around here.
I love Pat just coming in like,
What's
Well-
going on?
I'm like, yeah, what the fuck is this?
Come on. You got it tight?
right, and then this was originally a mini game where you had to cut the wires off of the zebra.
We worked on it for quite a while, and just
We did.
eventually.
That was a long scene of,
Yeah.
okay, now hold still.
Yeah.
Right there, that little slip in the mud. Again, that's hand animated.
What the fuck?
And then it's like, again, it's like the dad is acting like a child.
Come on.
And this was a stitch point because, again, the volume can only take you so far, and those stitches can be really tricky. But it was important in this project to always go outside the volume and just not make you feel. A lot of games, the performers could feel really constrained, like they're in a box. I wanted it to feel freer than that.
The one Marlene keeps talking about. They found her in the tunnels. She has an old bite mark on her arm. No signs of infection. That can't be. They're already running tests on her, but you gotta get down there.
Now there's like this glimmer of hope with Ellie, and revealing that we're in that same giraffe location. All this beauty and wonderment happened in the first game. We always stick to the POV of the character you're playing as. So this was like why we're coming into this conversation late is because you're hearing it when Abby hears it.
She's a child, not some petri dish. You think I don't
Merle Dandridge. Come
This is
back.
my first day meeting Merle.
the situation? And you're okay with killing her? No, I'm okay.
Like Merle and I had so many conversations about how conflicted she was about what has to happen, and then years later to visit the moment when she was arguing with Jerry.
Asking me? Are you telling me this is how it's gonna
I
be?
always like that we get more insight into these characters.
To buy in. And what if this was
I like seeing Marlene advocate for Ellie behind the scenes because
Yeah.
she's so resolved in the first game and the show, and to see that actually privately she was advocating.
All of that is justified with this one act.
If this was your daughter.
And the parallel here with Jerry from the first game is he's repeating everything that Ellie says right outside in the giraffe sequence in the first game, which is like, all the sacrifices we've made, it can't be for nothing. He's making the same exact argument Ellie does. And then Abby walks in to give her dad an out.
Look, Marlene.
And Marlene is done arguing, especially in front of his daughter.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go tell Joel.
Why?
The ethical thing Marlene does here is like, I have to tell Joel, which is ultimately her fatal mistake.
Yeah.
I guess Jerry's fatal mistake too, but he allowed it to happen.
You're doing the right thing.
She sees how conflicted her dad is, and she tries to tell him it would be okay. I would want you to do it to me. And he can never admit that he wouldn't.
You don't think so?
Well,
I think he would.
that's what I love about this. It's like, but he never says it.
Yeah, he just kind of has that look of.
Maybe he's just glad that it's not her.
Yeah.
Is he still in the fucking building?
Oof.
Abby.
No.
Abby, don't look.
We can't spare any of our characters from seeing the trauma firsthand.
Yeah.
Joel with Sarah, Ellie with Joel, Abby with Jerry. And it's just this shared trauma between these characters, and now events are set in motion. And now we get to see the other side of what happened after Abby kills Joel.
Please stop! Please don't.
Forget again, this is such a collaborative process. I don't even remember where some ideas come from, if it was editorial.
I think it was editorial.
Yeah, but to see the scene again from Abby's perspective and now get the fuller context, which is the whole concept of this game of like, you have one notion of how things go down, and then we give you more context and make you question your initial feelings about it.
Whoa, what are you doing? Manny.
Cleaning up.
No.
You remember how hard Pat pushed
Alejandro?
Alejandro?
He's right. We can't have loose ends.
Yeah,
We killed them. We're no
This
better than
also good, but Pat specifically would just kind of lose himself in these moments.
Look at my face. Fuck your face. You should have been guarding the upstairs like I told you to. Move! Back up.
Calm down.
Or what? Back the fuck up!
Calm down!
Garden! You gonna shoot me?
Stop! We're done.
There's your fatal mistake.
done.
Not cleaning up your mess. And now, back to day one. And this is where I think the penny drops for most players that, oh my God, I'm going to have to replay this entire sequence from the other side. This was fun. City of Thieves was highly inspirational for the first game, written by Game of Thrones co-showrunner David Benioff. And I wanted to put it in the game, and I had just started working with Craig Mazin on a TV show, and he's friends with him. I'm like, can you ask them? He's like, oh, of course. And within 5 minutes, I had like a text message like, yeah, no problem, put it in the game.
Yes. Vámonos.
Okay.
I love that Abby and Manny are roommates, that they're just bros. Gender means nothing.
It's crazy because we were filming it. I always thought of Manny as this like really fun loving. He is. He's this really fun guy, right? I hadn't even like registered the fact that he had in that scene, like he had spit on Joel. And so when I played it and he had done that, I was so angry at the character that it took so long to remember that he was a cool guy, a cool guy.
Why would it be up to Owen?
The irony that Ashley Birch, who plays Mel, has to play pregnant, while you, Laura Bailey, were pregnant.
We're almost there.
From a writing standpoint, this is hard, because we're introducing a brand new cast of characters that we're asking you to care about, and we're building a mission a quest about Owen that's not really related to the revenge quest you just played half the game with. But there's just a lot of track we have to lay to then get the interesting payoffs. Just showing how close these people that came from the Fireflies are. That despite that they're in a group that's very tribalistic, they have their own tribe within that.
And they can be very upset with each other, but there's a protectiveness of their own group.
This was hard on the dev side of, we captured a scene and we're like, okay, here you see a tower, now you're gonna pass the gate. And then we had to build all this real estate of this drive that's based on how much performance we have from you all.
Oh, God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And we iterated a lot on just this layout and this turn and like, okay, when should the truck stop? And then they have to add all the secondary motion to you all, like, because we're not an actual truck when we shoot this.
But we all just kind of did this little shimmy shake as we were in that.
But we did shoot this with Roach, the dog.
Roach the dog, we did.
Remember when Roach would come on set?
In his mocap suit?
And in his mocap suit, playing Alice.
And the whole set would just...
Right, fall in love
Just
with
take
Roach.
pictures, just take selfies with Roach.
That's seriously, like, Roach days were just...
They were the best days.
They were the best.
I don't trust him. Thanks again, guys.
Neil, do you remember there was originally a storyline where Mel was actually closer with Jerry because they worked so closely together, and there was like some level of contention, historical contention between Mel and Abby for his affection.
Right.
And we scrapped that because Mel needed to be so likable because she's such a hindrance to Abby's happiness.
I'll just be here, relaxing.
Nora, have you had a chance to relax?
I'm shipping out to the Westside Hospital in a few. Orders already.
Poor Danny. This is where Abby gets such a relief that it's not Owen, because this whole time there's this dread building that she thinks she's about to see Owen's body.
Where's Owen?
I don't know. A few days back, there were some scar sightings out by the marina.
Character model has incredible arms.
Yes, I was
Incredible
just looking at her arms. I mean, everybody talks about Abby's arms, but
yeah, but damn.
Nora's arms.
Nora's the sleeper.
With a bullet in his stomach.
In this scene, we finally establish what's about to become Abby's next goal, which is rescue Owen. And we come back to the theme of this
What about Owen?
this series, which is love.
But he gave me that fucking look, and then he told me to keep quiet about it. Which
This is
means
one more
you can't
example of the tribe within the tribe of she's telling them stuff they should not know. Because she trusts them, she cares for them more than she cares for the wolves, the WLF.
Where is Isaac?
Now we gotta go see the big man.
Last I heard, he was in the apartments.
It's kind of cool to again build this guy up, and then give you a glimpse of the person that runs the WLF.
You know what you guys find out?
Yeah.
Hey, Abby.
We need to go up.
Isaac's in there.
Oh.
This was another one of those sequences where we didn't want to be confined to the volume. If I remember correctly, we mapped out with tape on the floor of like this floor. Then you go into just a marked area that's going to be the elevator, and then you come out, and the whole place is marked differently when you're in Isaac's suite.
Sir, Abby and Manny are here.
And here we have the fantastic and very scary Jeffrey Wright.
Don't let him fall asleep.
There's a dehumanization that happens when you're in conflict with another group for so long, and there's so many like retributions that they get to a place where you can't torture them because they're so dehumanized. And we get to see how easy it is for Isaac now that he just sees them as pure enemies. We met Jeffrey Wright because his son was such a big fan of the first game. And talking to him, I offered him this role, and he was very excited to take it on. So it was fun to work with him, even if a little intimidating at times, just because his gravelly voice is so creepy.
What's going on, boss? These small skirmishes can't keep going like this.
Then what?
This was another obstacle we're throwing in Abby's way, which is, in the past, Isaac has given her a lot of rope because of how capable she is to pursue Joel. But here, he can't afford to have anybody leave because they're going to go all out to kill every last scar, as he would call it.
Sir, we try attacking their island.
I remember in like early iterations of the script, having a bunch of scenes, not a bunch, but having scenes with Isaac, where he was very much a mentor for her and almost like a surrogate father figure as she was growing up.
Those were early versions of the story, or
Yeah.
just in trying to shrink this behemoth down, we end up cutting. But the other thing you could see here is Jeffrey Wright has a limp. And the reason for that is if you look at the concept art, he has an amputated leg. And there's no opportunity to really see it, but the limp is still there.
Is someone okay?
And then we did so many takes, and Jeffrey insisted on eating an apple on every take just to make it authentic. So he ate a bunch of apples.
To Laura's point, we wrote scenes. I remember drafting scenes where he's coming in as trying to be sort of a Tommy, like a father figure after she's lost her dad, and you come to realize how intimate their relationship is, but it's something that she will very quickly give up in the face of Owen being in trouble. And as soon as she connects with Lev again, she's willing to give that up, but couldn't do it for time.
You get little hints of it because I feel like our relationship in this scene, you can see that he's given her things in the past. She's used to being able to
get her way.
And the one line, the way he lives it, like, stop gossiping about it. Like, the idea of that you guys need to stop, like, being this, like, Salt Lake City crew. You're part of a bigger group now.
Yeah.
There are things more important.
And we'll get to the bottom of it.
And even here, he's, like, saying, when the time comes, we'll do what's right.
Yeah, at this point, you find him to be, I think, torturing aside, like, he's a very fair leader with her. He's given her a lot, and then now he expects her to step up for ultimately, a 3-day assault.
The way he behaves, again, this is like we're on a broken record, which is he loves his people. He's going to go commit atrocities because of how much he loves the people that look up to him.
He's going to burn a village filled with children.
Right.
No way Owen killed Danny over some scar, right? What? No. Abby, don't.
I'll be back by morning. You just gotta cover me till then.
Isaac will kick your ass.
Not before the assault. You heard him. He
Abby
needs
doesn't
me.
care about this assault in the same way that Joel didn't care about finding a cure. It's just about the people that are close to us. And now we head into her head for flashback.
The most fun scenes to shoot.
Stop it.
This was fun, watching you two be so playful.
They were like a little respite from all of the
The horror.
horror that we were shooting.
And again, establishing Abby has vulnerabilities, right? Not just emotionally, but she has a deep, deep, deep fear of heights, which then gives Lev an opportunity to help her.
Just interesting, these characters that here with Owen and then the other time with Joel, when he takes Ellie to the museum, of these gifts that they give the people that they love. And here it's like he brought her to show her this beautiful aquarium as a show of his love.
Well, he's trying to, right, in the same way as Joel after David, he is trying to get back to the Abby that was. He's trying to get back to the dynamic that they had. And he's putting all of his heart into bringing her joy in the hopes that he can get confirmation that that person is not dead.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
We had these long talks about how Abby, like, is so serious and doesn't want to joke around. She's not a jokester. And I think Pat just like took that and ran, because every single time we would shoot, he would try to make me laugh as we were shooting as like a challenge.
I'm serious. I will break up with you. Owen.
I always loved you.
Don't! Owen!
It is like, at this point, Abby also, I think, is trying to be the person everybody wants her to be. She's trying to be the old version of Abby. She's trying to be the loyal soldier to Isaac, who has given them a home and a purpose. She's still figuring out who this new version of her is.
And reinforcing her fear of height.
When we shot that, though, do you remember how pregnant I was?
Remember how terrified I was because you're jumping off this like 2-foot platform.
It had to be. It was higher than 2 feet, right?
3
Tell me
feet.
it was higher than
3
2
feet. But then every time you landed hard on the ground, I'm like, oh my God, a baby's gonna fall out of her. This was like a nice, short and sweet little cinematic.
Also a fun thing to shoot when you're like coming up from underwater.
And then I remember you have to do this prep as if you're diving and transition in and out of gameplay.
Uh-huh.
I like these kind of air pockets that would still have remained here. As you held your breath a lot while
Yes.
shooting some of these scenes.
I love the scene.
Yeah, this whole sequence is for this scene. Like, but poor Owen loves Abby so much, and she's just so stuck with this, well, grief, I guess, that she can't let go. The injustice that she can't let go.
You could argue that what Owen is going through is a smaller version of what Abby is going through, right? Like, he's in love with this girl. He's fixated on her. He's ready to go on this journey with her and risk things for her, and all he wants in return is a little bit of love. And she just can't. She can't. This is just, she's not the person she was anymore.
It's this notion that somehow, if she's happy, she's disrespecting the loss of her father.
Yeah.
You want me to slow down?
No.
She can't allow herself to be too happy.
Is it this?
And he's still trying to make light of it. Look at him.
He's so cute.
We're disgusted by it.
Patrick Fugit is a very charming man.
Very.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Talk to me.
Just let him in.
I know all the leads have dried up, but Joel's still out there, you know?
I know.
And we get the sense that this is not the first time they're having this conversation.
No, this is the end of their intimate relationship, right? He's
Yeah.
going to try and move on
This is
with Mel. It's not going to work out.
This is the breakup scene.
Not how he envisioned this moment going, I have
No.
a feeling.
What about you?
I kind of this idea like look what I brought you. I brought you underwater. What else can I do?
There are seals swimming around.
It's just not enough.
So sad.
I mean, it's very much a parallel to what we see a much worse version of this in Ellie on the farm with Dina.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I told you already. Don't be sorry.
Flashback number 2 for Abby.
Yeah. So this scene also, the sequence had to do a lot of work because we're once again resetting. You have to learn where she and Owen are in their relationship, feel that tension, feel the family dynamics.
Owen!
He's so surprised to see her.
Hey.
Hey. Is everything all right?
Yeah.
I love the set, man. The set took so many
Forever,
iterations to get right,
forever.
but it was really important that it felt gorgeous. Justify why this guy has holed up in here for so long.
What is all this? Festive.
You gotta get the full effect.
This is our Christmas episode.
Take in that view.
A thing you might not appreciate until you sort of really play this is this aquarium had to meet so many different needs because it's in so many different
Right.
levels. And so to make sure that all of those could work together was painstaking, especially for the layout designers.
Now, try that. Well?
The view is nice.
Oh, whatever. Philistine.
You want me to lie?
Yes, obviously. She's into this Christmas thing.
And again, look at this effort he puts in.
Yeah, there's this a beautiful tension between these characters that still clearly very much love each other.
But he did this for Mel, right?
Yeah,
this is
this
for
was-
Mel.
Right, but look how excited he is that Abby's here.
I know. He's trying to
I
move
doubt
on.
I doubt he's this excited when Mel's here.
Poor Mel.
But I think
Poor
he
Mel.
wants to be, right? I think he
Yeah.
wants to move on with Mel. He
'Cause
knows
he's-
she's inaccessible.
Well, yeah, Abby's a dead end.
Why are you in such a good mood?
Am I?
I love that he misreads this. Like he thinks this is somehow about him and now he's going to convince her to stay. But she's in a good mood because
I found Joel's brother.
they found Joel's brother.
He's at a settlement out in Wyoming.
How do you know that?
The Fireflies who served with him got picked up at the wall.
I thought he quit like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So, have these guys heard from him since?
It's a lead. I gotta see it through.
Okay, but you know that even if he is there, and you do find him, he might not know where Joel is, right?
Right, because at this point, we're already... Canonically, he's already starting to have issues killing scars.
Everyone's on board.
And we're not really talking about it, but there's some track getting laid. He's losing his taste for violence.
I like that he was the last person that she went to go talk to about this.
People go off base.
He already did.
Bullshit.
Who's more about justice than Isaac? He knows what Joel's done. Hey. We're doing this together, right?
I love that look. It's like, you promised me. If we get like any clue, you promised me. He doesn't want to be the last holdout.
But he's like Jesse. He's never not going to go if his people are going. The Paris sequence.
This scene.
Oh, yes.
Was this one of the first things we
Yes,
shot?
yeah, because it was for Paris Games
Yeah.
Week.
Paris Games Week, yeah.
We shot this way in advance.
I think it was like a day or two before we shot this that I'm like, we could do this all as one shot. And like I had sketched out like these kind of storyboards real quick, and then came up with this hazy plan with Matt Neapolitan, our cinematographer for this game.
Like take after take of getting dragged by your arms.
This was another one where we actually strung Laura up with, we had like 2 ropes, one that was around your neck to just give you a little bit of tension that you could lean into as much as you wanted, and then another one that held your body up in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, this was so much work, and like we scrutinized the tiniest details in the scene.
When this came out originally, people thought that she was
Anna.
Anna.
Yeah.
That she was Ellie's mom.
We were watching the narrative of how Ellie came to be.
And these Seraphites that at times you might feel sorry for them and you see them getting tortured. And then see that, you know...
Oh, wait a minute.
Here, the lead Seraphites in the scene is played by Emily Swallow, in just Small World. She's of Mandalorian fame, acting along Pedro Pascal. And later we find out this is a bastardization of this thing of like freedom so they may know my love wasn't meant as like disembowel them.
Free them, that they may know my...
The intro of Victoria Grace plays Yara.
Yeah, this scene has a lot of heavy lifting. It's introducing like 2 major characters of Yara and Lev. Again, this idea that keeps repeating in this story of like the tribe within a tribe, that even though these are all Abby's enemies, Seraphites, somehow they have it in for these 2 kids.
And again, this is one of those weird opportunities. I know it sounds dark, but like in seeing the violence against these kids, it's much easier to immediately understand why Abby makes the choices she makes. They may be their enemy, but these are kids getting hurt.
Lighting a scene is really hard. Lighting a scene that's one take, where the camera's constantly moving around at 360 degrees and making sure all those angles still look good, is close to impossible. So kudos to our lighting team.
The face change, is she, ugh.
The face change, the flow of blood, the water, there's so many things that done improperly would take you out of the scene. And then we spent a lot of time, even to the hands right there, I remember we spent so much time making sure you see the tension in the hands as she's suffocating. The shirt, and make sure the shirt felt wet and it's sticking to her skin, and it's a little bit translucent because it's wet. That's the kind of detail that Naughty Dog is crazy about.
Demons are coming.
So this is the introduction of Ian Alexander, and a fun thing to watch as you watch his face throughout the game is, I think it was lead character Ashley Swadowski came up with it, but if you look at his scars, one of them is a little crooked and wobbly, and the idea that like you see there's physical representation of his hesitation in this religion, even on the scars on his face.
And yet, I think the beautiful thing with him is that he remains a believer
Yeah.
all the way through.
Yeah. His faith partly saved him, right? Because he saw the beauty in the intention.
Watch your backs.